Chapter 108. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Before Danzo could imagine the future, Uchiha Fugaku appeared. Fugaku saw him hiding in the crowd and said, "Nothing nice, Elder Shimura, what do you mean?" Not only him, but also the third-generation Sarutobi Hiruzen, he had the same attitude, Danzo. The Uchiha Jonin looked at each other, why didn't they see it? After being exposed by Uchiha Fugaku, Danzo was no longer timid, and asked the root ninja to make way for a human-shaped passage, and came to the front. Wouldn't the Uchiha clan leader know what I mean? And I am the one who should be asking this question. What is the matter with the Sharingan Magatama in the Nine-Tails eyes? As the head of the Uchiha clan, shouldn't you give me an explanation? Danzo and Uchiha Fugaku were at loggerheads. Sarutobi Hiruzen's message also came through quickly. The head of the Uchiha clan, the third Hokage, wrote to us that the number of ninjas in Konoha to help evacuate civilians is seriously insufficient, and the destructive power of the Nine-Tails is too terrifying. The third Hokage wants to ask you, the Uchiha clan, to go and help. If we go earlier, we can save more people. What does this mean? No need to translate. Let a group of Jonin go to rescue the villagers of Konoha. It's not so outrageous to use a cannon to kill a mosquito. Fugaku personally led a team of Jonin to come here. What did he want to do? Don't you, Sarutobi Hiruzen, know? To evacuate the people, do you need Jonin? If you deal with the Nine-Tails, won't everything be solved? Clan leader. The Uchiha leader could not stand this humiliation, and with a flick of his fingertips, he grasped the kunai in his palm. The root ninjas on the opposite side took out their weapons and stood on guard. Don't cause trouble for Minato. Fugaku thought about it and finally decided to endure it. It was not clear what Minato's current situation was. He was a strong man who could control the Nine-Tails. When did Uchiha produce a person of this level? Looking at the entire ninja world back then, the only person with this strength, besides Madara, was Hashirama, but these two have been gone for many years. Go back to the Nine-Tails. After Minato and the others left, Uchiha Manye began to act. Stepping on the wires all the way, pulling out afterimages and rushing towards the Nine-Tails. In the ruins, Manye stepped on the broken eaves and dodged the flying stones and sand from all around. Every action of the Nine-Tails was no less than an 8-magnitude earthquake for Konoha. The debris of the overturned house flew backwards and hit the intact house and yard, immediately knocking open a huge gap mouth. Smash the man and the wall to death. The battle between Minato and his apprentice will not take long. Uchiha Manye flew to the sky. Wanxiang-Tianin. The sand and rocks on the way were churning, and the sand and rocks gathered to form a gray rock mountain as high as a small mountain in the sky. Using the suction of Wanxiang-Tianin, Manye in the air quickly formed seals with both hands to control the rock and soil under his feet as much as possible, mobilizing more earth escape energy. He wanted to give the nine-tailed fox a big one hand fire escape, the other hand earth escape. Fire escape Great Fire Dragon Song Technique, Earth Escape Earth Dragon Rock Pillar. The earth was connected, the rock and soil in the sky completed resonance, the broken waves of the earth were churning, and the sky-high rock pillars pierced the earth veins and accurately pierced through one of the nine-tailed fox's tails. There were 9 rock pillars in total, each piercing through one tail. At the same time, the sand and soil in the sky spread out and connected with the towering rock pillars merged into one. The Great Fire Dragon Song condensed, and the red-gold light shone across the sky. The blazing heat melted everything along the way. The Nine-Tails, sensing the crisis, struggled continuously, and opened its huge mouth, ready to give Uchiha Manye a tailed beast ball. The rock pillars could not withstand such high temperatures, and they melted one after another. The magma fluid and rock blocks slowly dripped around the huge body of the Nine-Tails. The more the Nine-Tails struggled, the faster the magma fluid fell and flowed. As for the tailed beast ball, before it was completely formed, Manye stepped on the magma and rushed to the Nine-Tails' throat, and with the help of the earth escape technique that condensed the crystals into the earth armor technique, he kicked the tailed beast ball and the Nine-Tails' head into the ruins. Temporarily suppressing the Nine-Tails, Lioli. The crystals circulated at an accelerated speed, quickly filling the surface of the Nine-Tails' body. The Nine-Tails could not break the crystal cage reinforced by high-temperature dissolution for a while. It exerted force at its nodes, causing the crystals to melt continuously and merge with its entire body. To read the exciting novel, go to Falun Novel Network. Uchiha Manye's godlike posture shocked many people below, especially the third generation. When he saw the mask on Manye's face, he felt sick. His mind kept echoing, the memory of being rubbed casually by Manye like a ball on the day Orochimaru defected. It was him. Who was he, and what did he want to do? Manye, who will arrive safely at the Nine-Tails' head, has no time to pay attention to the psychological journey of the third generation below. Found a check-in location. Countdown starts 59, 58, 57, asking for flowers. 0. Violent suppression of the Nine-Tails is because Manye is worried that the nine-treasure Samsara Eye in his eyes is not complete enough to suppress the Nine-Tails. The previous two moves, Manye paid a heavy price. 2/3 of the chakra in his body was drained. He himself didn't know if he could suppress the Nine-Tails, so when signing in, he activated the Samsara Eye in his eyes and took advantage of the Nine-Tails' illness to kill it. First, Obito's illusion control. This thing is easy to deal with. Obito himself is not a person with a good brain. If his illusion brain is not good, the illusion effect will naturally be worse. If it weren't for the huge pupil power given by Madara, otherwise with Obito's current level, he would have the ability to control the Nine-Tails. Illusion replacement, grafted by Obito to Manye himself, using the pupil power left by Madara. He completed the cuckoo in the nest. The whole process was easier than Uchiha Manye expected. Silently, the control of the Nine-Tails fell into Manye's hands. Madara is so considerate. Foolproof operation. As long as you have the Mangekyo Sharingan, you can take the Nine-Tails home. Combining the fire and earth escape techniques, the fake crystal escape techniques imitated by Manye, after the chakra that maintained its existence dissipated, the crystal escape techniques quietly shattered. The bright crystal texture, from the inside out dense cracks appeared. Ping. The cracking sound of the crystal was small but clearly audible. The sound spread throughout the venue, and the heart that had just been relieved was lifted up again with the explosion of the crystal. Bang! Bang! The shattered body of the crystal was dead after the Nine-Tails struggled, and there was no trace of it left. The palm fell to the ground, and the huge body stood up again. Roar! Standing on the top of the Nine-Tails and completing the full control handover, Manye had time to look at the Konoha ninjas below. Unfortunately, we are at the front of the team, like the third generation surrounded by stars, and we are particularly dazzling no matter where we are. It's better to kill this kind of scourge as soon as possible. It's a pity that Danzo didn't know where he ran off to, otherwise it would save a lot of trouble if we killed these two together. 45:44, the time is still counting down. Obito. You have to hold on a little longer, or you will die. Minato came back and was trapped on the Nine-Tails' head. Uchiha Manye really didn't dare to boast that he could stand and let Minato hit him. Chapter 109. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Control the Nine-Tails to lock the third Hokage. The tailed beast ball is too lethal, and Uchiha Manye has no intention of destroying Konoha. Without Minato, the only power of the third Hokage that can counter the tailed beast ball is his 5 styles great linking bullet technique. If the ultimate destructive power of the two parties explodes in the heart of Konoha, the damage caused will not be less than the one Nagato gave Konoha, and the Super Shinra Tensei is not much worse. Even the damage is much greater than Shinra Tensei. The ultimate power collision, the result of all matter, is only annihilation. The huge body turned its position, and the Magatama of the Sharingan under the Nine-Tails' eyes rotated at a high speed. This is a manifestation of someone controlling it. Obito, on the other hand, was still playing a mental game with Minato, and had no time to pay attention to the situation of the Nine-Tails. He was not even sure that the Nine-Tails had been abducted by Uchiha Manye. At the extreme speed, the Nine-Tails turned into a red shadow and sprinted. The huge body brought 350 to the surrounding wind pressure, setting off waves of hurricanes. The shadows of the Jounin's escape techniques were immediately blown away by the waves under the crushing force of this huge storm. Sky, a red comet suddenly appeared. The nine-tailed beast's huge arm, which was as far as one could see, slapped down towards the position of the third generation. Sarutobi Hiruzen reacted quickly, and the earth escape technique condensed, and several rock and soil barriers rose up. Then he let the nine-tailed beast's sharp claws tear the ground into pieces. The earth flow wall was just a cover, and the real killer move was the third generation's next ninjutsu. Earth escape Huangquan flowing earth technique. In the ruins of the block, mud continued to spread, and the rock and soil turned into quicksand. The brown and yellow mud bubbles were all over the edge of the mud pit. The nine-tailed beast stood on it, and most of its body sank into the depths of the mud pit. The more it struggled, the deeper it sank into the mud pit. Roar. Another roar, the nine-tailed beast was out of control and suddenly went crazy. A pair of huge fox claws penetrated the rock and soil at the edge of the mud. I don't know where the power came from, and in one fell swoop, it split the hundreds of meters long block in front into two halves. The fox claws locked onto the rock wall at the edge of the mud pit, and the claws were deeply embedded in it. With a sudden force, the ground cracked, and the rock and soil exploded in a ring-shaped crack where the fox claws were embedded. The mud pit was also shaken up into the sky by the roar of the nine-tailed fox. The torrent rushed up to the sky, and the giant claws of the nine-tailed fox tore through the barrier formed by the mud and slapped the Sonda, the unmatched and powerful force, slapping his body. Sarutobi Hiruzen felt that his internal organs were about to burst out of his body. I don't know how many buildings it crashed along the way, and finally fell in an uninhabited house. The nine-tailed fox jumped high. 9 huge tails danced wildly in the air. When it landed, it clawed again. This time, the Sonda blocked it. But not completely. The spirit summoned the ape demon, and at the last moment, the spirit beast turned into the ape demon stick, helping the Sonda block this fatal blow. The claws of the nine-tailed fox blocked it, but the impact force transmitted later was not something that the ape demon stick could resist. With huge smoke and dust, the nine tails pierced through the battlefield and arrived at the end of the Sandame's flight path before he landed. The nine tails spun its body and a long tail shot out from behind it, hitting the Sandame in the chest. Unfortunately, the Sarutobi rod was placed in front of it, blocking the nine tails' tail from making direct contact with Sarutobi Hiruzen. 10, 9, 8, the countdown was coming to an end. Uchiha Manye could let go. He used the mud pit that the third generation had built to trap the nine tails. Many formed seals with his hands, extracted the mud and water vapor, and turned it into a water whip to trap the third generation's body. The nine tails' huge impact, plus the force of the water whip in the opposite direction, pulled the third generation extremely uncomfortable. Then he added the earth escape technique. It was impossible to hold the third generation with just the water whip. The best result could only be to separate Sarutobi Hiruzen from his body. The rock wall rose up again and again, and the third generation collided with it. The rigid direct collision force, under the superposition of inside and outside, he spurted out a mouthful of old blood, and half of his body was fractured to varying degrees. Under Manye's control, the rock wall finally gathered into a giant palm, firmly grasped the third generation in the palm, and then lifted it up high. At the same time, the nine tails opened its bloody mouth violently, and without any effort, it sprayed out several small-tailed beast balls that were only 1,000th the size of a normal-tailed beast ball. The back mountain of Konoha, the battle between Minato and Obito is also coming to an end. A specialized kunai pierces Obito's hollow head. Minato keeps rushing forward, and Obito's hollow palm with spirals is almost touching Minato's heart. To read exciting novels, go to Falun Novel Network. Suddenly, Namake's Minato disappeared, and before Obito realized the seriousness of the matter, Minato hit Obito on the back with a Rasengan, leaving a flying thunder god mark. The strong torque of the Rasengan tore off most of Obito's body, and the adult body constructed by the white Zetsu cells fell into sand and collapsed. It's really fast. Before he finished speaking, Minato flashed in front of Obito and pressed his right hand on Obito. Release. Runes locked onto Obito's entire body, instantly stripping away Madara's pupil power and exerting control over the nine tails. Obito wanted to fight back, but Minato didn't give him a chance. As a master of spacetime ninjutsu, Namake's Minato knew too well how difficult he was to kill. He still didn't understand the characteristics of Kamui, as long as Obito didn't do anything stupid, it would be difficult for Minato to attack him. The same is true in reverse. As long as Minato was careful, with Obito's current strength, he would never be able to defeat Minato in his lifetime. The two of them were too different in combat experience. After taking control of the Nine Tails, Minato no longer wanted to fight. Konoha didn't know what it had become. Now he couldn't stay in the back mountain for a moment. In the Konoha district, the third generation, who was seriously injured, was trapped in mid-air by Uchiha Manye's earth escape. Not far in front of him was the Nine-Tails continuous-tailed beast ball, a total of more than 30 black ion spheres. Although the scale was not as terrifying as the complete-tailed beast ball, it would not be pleasant to hit a shell the size of a human head, not to mention that this thing would still explode. 3, 2, 1, complete the sign-in, and the reward will be issued. Samsara Eye progress plus 10%, awakening, Chakram graveside prison. When the third generation is about to be killed, the sign-in reward of many is issued. Good news comes one after another. If Danzo is killed tonight, it will be perfect. It's a pity that God didn't give him a chance. Good things can't be taken by him alone. At the critical moment, Minato appeared again to save the situation. First, he threw a special kunai at many, and then he took the third generation and disappeared in the space. 1.0. Continuous-tailed beast balls hit the graveyard left by Uchiha Manye for the third generation. The graveyard is still there, but the people in the graveyard were robbed at the last moment. Even the cooked duck can fly. When the kunai came, Manye turned his head to avoid it. The sound of breaking wind sounded from his ears, and the next second Minato, who saved the third generation, appeared and hit Manye with a backhanded Rasengan. With his back to Minato, Manye's Magatama in his eyes was running at full speed, and Chakram Graveyard was launched. Facing Minato head-on, Manye did not dare to be careless, not to mention that he was now facing away from him. After the Willgrave prison was activated, a shadow of nothingness separated from Manye's shadow, and it had the same configuration as the main body. Holding the power of the Samsara Eye, the shadow condensed a kunai and slashed at Minato. Chapter 110. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Decisively switch the landing point. The reflection of the prison split the space. Minato's reaction speed was very fast, but he was also one step slower than the speed of the prison. Half of the Rasengan was cut by the power of nothingness. Minato didn't think twice and jumped through space continuously. The reflection of the prison followed all the way, and the distance between one shadow and one person kept getting closer. A fatal shudder gathered at the center of his eyebrows, and Minato's cells were calling him to run, and run faster. The space and time were full of Namake's Minato, who had already landed at the reflection of the prison of 10,000 leaves. The invisible confrontation between the two destroyed the entire space and time node. If Obito ran here to watch the battle at this moment, the dense space and time fragments all over the sky would be enough to crush him into a pile of slag. The more Minato retreated, the more difficult it was to walk. If he took a wrong step, his end would not be much better than Obito, who had intervened. The top of the Nine Tails, after losing the blessing of Madara's huge pupil power, the level of the 10,000 leaves illusion was no longer enough to help him control the Nine Tails. If he was at his peak, it would be fine. Chakra converted into eye power, although not as abnormal as Madara, it would not be a big problem to continue to suppress the Nine Tails for a while. However, the previous two large-scale ninjutsu to suppress the Nine Tails drained 2/3 of Uchiha Manye's chakra. 21. The last third, after releasing the Grave Will, almost squeezed Manye dry. The Grave Will side prison, the chakra required is too huge, only condensing a reflection, forced him to this point. Even at his peak, Manye did not dare to use his full strength. At most, he could pull out 2, and this was already affecting the combat effectiveness of the main body. 3 rounds of reflection, Manye's chakra would be drained, and he would have to pay some extra costs. If he had 4 rounds, he would not be able to condense such a large amount of energy even if he was killed. After the Nine Tails lost control, Uchiha Manye no longer let the side prison reflection chase Minato, but immediately left the Nine Tails head. If he stayed any longer, the Nine Tails would come and slap him with one claw. Uchiha Manye moved, and the reflection of the side prison, which he was not very skilled in controlling, dissipated. After the side prison disappeared, Minato accelerated and jumped 3 nodes, and finally landed under a roof with a cold sweat. After so many years, after he had the flying thunder god, Minato had forgotten how long he had not felt such a biting cold. First, there was a strange person wearing a vortex mask, whose origin was unknown. The opponent's strength was not very strong, and his combat experience was even worse. At first, Minato gave up his guess about Uchiha Madara. If the person who came was really Uchiha Madara, with that strange time and space ninjutsu, Minato might be able to defeat him before he was familiar with the characteristics of Kamui. Madara has always been as famous as Hashirama. The ninja school back then was not like today, and there were no taboos that could not be said. Uchiha Madara, the powerful Renju, was also written in the textbooks. When fighting with Obito, Minato also noticed a little strangeness, that is, the man was deliberately suppressing his own combat habits. Many of his movements were extremely stiff, somewhat uncomfortable, as if he was afraid of being recognized by Minato. Familiar? Minato, regardless of his image, temporarily sat on the ground for a while. Among the Uchiha clan, the people that Minato could call acquaintances, he quickly moved his hand over Fugaku, Many, Shisui, Obito, and then there were no more. The others were either nodding acquaintances or had never even met them. Minato immediately ruled out the 2 brothers Fugaku and Many, not because it was impossible, but because he was not familiar with their fighting styles. The 3 had never sparred once, so there was no need to hide anything in front of him. Besides, with Fugaku's experience of hundreds of battles, it was impossible for him to reveal so many flaws in the battle like him. Uchiha Manye was able to suppress the Kumo ninja brothers by an AI. Minato didn't know how strong Manye was, but how could he not understand the brothers by an AI, who had fought against each other before? Shisui. It is very likely that the novice's mistake was just to mislead him, but Uchiha Shisui knew the characteristics of Flying Thunder God very well. No matter how much Shisui pretended, he couldn't pretend to leave the Flying Thunder God mark on his body on purpose. What does this mean? Shisui couldn't fail to know. After a round of investigation, Minato didn't understand in the end who the person under the spiral mask was. After Uchiha Manye left, the Nine-Tails went berserk. The psychological shadow that Madara had brought to it appeared again today. The Nine-Tails will never forget the terrifying feeling until it dies. It bombarded Konoha in a venting manner. Some of the senior ninjas who were almost unresponsive didn't react for a while, so they were beaten to pieces by the Nine-Tails with a flurry of punches. The movement of the Nine-Tails interrupted Minato's thoughts. He also considered Obito, but Obito was the one he saw go away with his own eyes. How could someone who had already died appear? To read the exciting novels, go to Falun Novel Network. Smiling at his own crazy thoughts, Minato rushed to the final battlefield. Nine-Tails, this is Konoha. This is not a place where you can mess around. Are you still alive? Black Zetsu poked his head out from underground, looked around the scenery of Konoha, and reluctantly asked Obito a question. It's okay, I won't die. Obito's expression under the spiral mask was very subtle. He knew how powerful Minato was, but he never expected that he, who was no longer the same as before, would lose so miserably when fighting with his teacher again. Sneak attack, Nine-Tails containment, Kamui characteristics, everything added up, and in the end, he couldn't get through 3 moves from Minato. Namake's Minato. You are so powerful, why can't you protect your students? You are known as the fastest in the ninja world. Why are you always late again and again when your students need you the most? Who can tell me why this is happening? Obito roared furiously in his heart, feeling helpless. The expression on his face was so distorted that he didn't look like a human being at this moment. Namake's Minato. You are as incompetent as your students, you can't protect anyone. You defeated me, even killed me. So what can you do? Did you just get your wife? Ha ha ha. Ha 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 ha. Laughing like a madman, Tuche was crazy. Today, he destroyed everything in his past with his own hands, including the village, teachers, friends, and even the teacher's wife who treated him like her own child. Hey, are you okay? Obito yelled and screamed, which made Black Zetsu feel creepy. As expected of the Uchiha clan, they were completely crazy. At this time, a passing ninja passed by. it was none other than Uchiha Manye who was chasing Black Zetsu. After Black Zetsu left the earth vein, Manye's snake ring no longer issued a resonance warning. Manye knew that Black Zetsu was in the back mountain, but he didn't know where exactly. It was not until Obito let out that creepy laugh that Uchiha Manye was able to determine the location. "You are laughing so arrogantly, Obito, it seems that you haven't been beaten enough." Chapter 111. You are listening at novelfull.audio. For safety reasons, Uchiha Manye decided not to go there in person. There is still some residual energy in the grave chakra. This Samsara Eye is even more like a forced sail. If Bianyu's reflection does not release all the energy, he will continue to absorb Manye's pupil power after it is taken back in order to maintain his own existence. It's okay to draw it at ordinary times, but now he has just dealt with the Nine Tails, and his chakra is seriously empty. If there is another blue absorber, won't it be fatal? When Bianyu was fighting with Minato, the progress was a bit weird. Both of them were constantly jumping at the nodes of time and space, except for cutting half of the Rasengan at the beginning. Bianyu's reflection did not touch Minato again. I can only say that he is worthy of Minato Namikaze. The teacher is gone, and now there is another student. How can Uchiha Manye refuse this? Look, he is here. Minato sent him a Yama card. How can he, Uchiha Manye, be bad? Bianyu's reflection broke away from the main body, shuttled through the mountains and trees, and quietly touched the direction where Obito was. Obito, it's time to go. It will be bad if Minato Namikaze finds you still in Konoha after he finishes dealing with the Nine Tails. Black Zetsu reminded him. Just now, he suddenly felt a little uneasy. It seemed that something big was about to happen. In terms of the ability to survive, Black Zetsu has never lost to anyone. Even if Minato Namikaze comes, he may not be stronger than him. Next time, remember Minato Namikaze, next time I want you to die in my hands. Uchiha Obito's eyes were filled with anger, and he gritted his teeth as he uttered the last cruel words. Unfortunately, apart from the Black Zetsu who was present, and the Bianyuing who had already arrived, no one else knew about it, and no one knew who he was talking to. Next time, if Minato didn't die, Obito would never have a peaceful life in the future. With the Flying Thunder God mark on him, Obito is a natural traitor. If Madara knew what he had done, he would be so angry that he would die. Fortunately, Minato died for love in the end, and didn't give the Flying Thunder God mark a chance to work. Otherwise, Madara would definitely die. If Minato knew, what did he do to his students? Minato even wanted to scatter his ashes. Age spots. Is Minato the opponent is still unclear, but when Minato reaches the peak of his strength, the one who will die will definitely be Madara. The longer time passes, the faster the strength of one will decline, while the strength of the other is still increasing. Is this conclusion necessary to say? The reflection of the prison is coming. In the dead silence without wind or sound, Black Zetsu subconsciously pulled Obito. Use white Zetsu cells to replace the position of his original head. A crack suddenly appeared in the void, and Obito, who was half a head shorter, escaped by luck. The head made of white Zetsu cells swayed with his body and fell to the ground. A spiral appeared, and Obito instinctively used Kamui to devour himself. The palm of the reflection of the prison passed through the void and also passed through Obito's body. What a pity. One Yi sighed at the main body. Kamui is special. It is different from Minato. It jumps through the space of the ninja world. Kamui is a world of its own. Before the key to open the door is found, no one can open the door except the owner of the space. Obito ran away, and there is Black Zetsu. It would be a good choice to cut something off this guy's body and throw it to Orochimaru for research. Black Zetsu, will he die if his head is cut off? Uchiha Manye decided to give it a try. Obito ran away, and Black Zetsu immediately burrowed underground at a super high speed, rushing out of Konoha. Even Minato Namikaze couldn't run away, let alone you. Taking a step forward, the reflection of Bienyu followed the time and space node, ignoring space and time, ignoring the ground veins and magma, and the reflection arrived beside Black Zetsu. The hand knife cut down, and Black Zetsu's head, which had no ability to resist, was separated from the body. Then in an instant, the body and head were torn into pieces, split into countless large and small fragments and fled everywhere. Looking at this scene, UchihaManye was stunned. Fortunately I didn't catch the fragments of Black Zetsu's body before, otherwise my hometown would have been robbed by Madara. What kind of weird existence is this? The reflection cut off a piece of fragments, and Black Zetsu's body remained. When he found that he couldn't run away, he directly understood himself and turned into tiny trees, grass leaves and roots, losing all his own characteristics. When Uchiha Manye wanted to do something else, the reflection of the edge prison collapsed. Manye's remaining pupil power made it difficult to maintain his existence. To read the violent novel, go to Fulu Novel Network. The consumption of the Grave Will Edge prison is big, but it is not without benefits. At least when the reflection collapses, the main body will not be affected in any way. The edge of the fire country, Obito walked out of the Kamui space with a look of fear on his face. If Black Zetsu reacted a little slower, his head would have to move. Obito is still a person now, and there is no mask for him to wear now, so that he can no longer be a human being. As a human, there are birth, aging, illness and death. Can a person still live without a head? Black Zetsu. Black Zetsu. Is he still alive? Obito was not sure where Black Zetsu was. Every time Black Zetsu appeared in front of him, it was the first time he found Black Zetsu. What do you think? Black Zetsu popped his head out of the soil and added, I'm going to die, and you won't be able to see me anymore. What was that just now? Where did the attack come from? An ability more terrifying than Kamui, to the point where Obito didn't even know who the attacker was. I'm not sure, but I think I know what it is. Black Zetsu said in a puzzled tone. The graveyard. Black Zetsu thought of the fight between his two brothers, this invisible force of time and space. I remember that Himura called it that, but Black Zetsu stopped there. After all, it did not really possess the power of the 6 paths, the ability of the Samsara Eye, and it mostly heard about it from hearsay. Obito asked, what is it? Black Zetsu replied perfunctorily, it's not time for you to know yet. When the time comes, I will naturally tell you. Uchiha Manye, Obito, and Black Zetsu left Konoha. The Nine Tails fell into the final seal countdown. Namake's Minato summoned Gamabunta, suppressed the Nine Tails for a moment, and then released the Flying Thunder God barrier, transferring the Nine Tails from the inner block of Konoha to the back mountain. Minato used Flying Thunder God to transfer large objects continuously, and some of his chakra could not keep up with the consumption. Back mountain, no Zhao, the Nine Tails fired the tailed beast balls randomly, and the more chakra, the more arrogant it was. The earth and mountains were plowed again and again. Minato kept changing his position, pulling the Nine Tails' hatred, so that this guy wouldn't run back to the village. But no matter how long Minato Namake's waited, he never waited for the Konoha sealing squad to show up. The third Hokage in the village called Danzo to clean up the mess left by the Nine Tails together. The two tacitly didn't mention anything about Minato. Minato's direct umbu were also sent out to treat the wounded. No one knew what kind of situation Minato was in now. Kushina's vitality was draining away step by step. The sealing squad that the third Hokage had promised was delayed. If Minato still didn't know what happened at this time, his strength would have been wasted. Konoha was unreliable, and he had to rely on himself in the end. Chapter 112. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Sorry, Kushina, I've caused you trouble. What are you talking about? Whether you will be implicated or not? What are you going to do? Kushina has seen the scene and can roughly infer the truth of the matter. She is not stupid, she has just been pretending to be stupid. Without teacher Jiraiya and Orochimaru's escape, Minato in Konoha has lost the backup he can rely on. Minato requested, can you help me suppress the Nine Tails? Are you going to seal the Nine Tails into our child? Kushina was extremely resistant. Kushina, only in this way can he live safely. Namake's. Minato's face was cold. The big and small families of Konoha have been keeping an eye on him for a long time. Without the sealing squad, Minato, who had fought 3 battles in a row, really had no spare energy to deal with the Nine Tails. He was not suitable to deal with the tailed beasts, and the sealing technique took too much time. What about you? Don't you plan to grow up with Naruto? Kushina asked. I'm tired. If I continue to delay, I can't be sure if I still have the ability to stop the Nine Tails. Let it go. killing the Nine Tails is the last thing I will do to the village. The village ninjas have always had a good grasp of Minato's character, they can let the Nine Tails go and slaughter the villagers, but Minato can't. He doesn't want to do that. As a strong man, Namake's Minato has his own bottom line and his own pride. Isn't it just a Nine Tails? It's not like he can't deal with it. Uzumaki Kushina opened her mouth and wanted to say something, but when she thought that she was a dying person, she gave up. She also saw the decay of the village. Listening to Minato's daily complaints, Kushina had some understanding of the situation in the village. It's up to you. It's a pity for Naruto, sorry kid, I didn't give you a complete family. Have you left a letter for Mr. Jiraiya? No, Kushina, I don't intend to cause trouble for the teacher. There was another period of silence. Minato was worried, and Kushina knew that after Naruto became a Jinchuriki, the village would not let Jiraiya take him away no matter what. Besides, Jiraiya was alone with the Nine-Tails Jinchuriki, and the whole ninja world would be watching them in the future. If you want Naruto to live, you must give him a reason to live. After Orochimaru left, how the village treated his old subordinates was seen by Minato. If he hadn't helped, what would have happened to those people, only God knew. Uzumaki Kushina's red hair fluttered, and the golden chains of the diamond seal extended from her body. The golden glow enveloped the entire valley, and Minato, who was restraining the Nine Tails, felt indescribable. Chains were wrapped around the Nine Tails' huge body, and the golden chains penetrated its body, suppressing the flow of natural energy in its body. Finally, he said goodbye to Kushina. Minato performed the demonic sealing, the hand seals changed in sequence and finally the hands were put together. The pale invisible soul soared into the sky along with Minato Namake's body, and the Death God's pale palm was holding a dagger. The Death God raised the bead chain in his left hand, and pierced one of the beads with the dagger in his right hand. After penetrating Minato's body, it evolved into two transparent big hands and penetrated into the Nine Tails. Inside the body, Uchiha clan land. After replacing the clone, many stood outside the shelter, watching the scene calmly. Speaking of which, it seems that he is also one of the driving forces behind the Minato couple's fate, but if he is given a chance to choose again, he will still do so. Minato, I will let you beat me up after I revive you. The backup shadow clone is activated. Uchiha Manye exhausted the chakra that he had just refined, converted it into pupil power, and activated the grave will edge prison again. At this point, Uchiha Manye was completely exhausted. The reflection of the edge prison followed the shadow clone, and after the Minato couple handed the child to the third generation of Umbu, they dispersed their lives. After the machine, the reflection of the prison made a move. Because there was not much remaining energy, many did not fight with the Umbu personnel, but took advantage of the time when a few people notified the main force to pick up the bodies of Minato and his wife. After that, he shuttled through the void and handed the people to the shadow clone. Before the pupil power dissipated, the reflection of the prison dissipated, and the shadow clone used the sealing scroll he brought with him to collect the bodies of the two people, and then return to the clan secretly. After a lot of twists and turns, the sealing scroll came into Uchiha Manye's hands. Back Mountain, when the third generation, half of his body was wrapped in bandages, rushed to the scene, he saw only Naruto. To read the exciting novel, go to Falun Novel Network. What's going on? Where are the bodies of Minato and Kushina? The third Hokage was furious. The fourth Hokage died, so he could teach the people of Konoha a lesson, but after Minato's death, his body disappeared. How can the villagers accept it? Minato was the hero who sealed the Nine Tails and saved Konoha, but his body was stolen before it was even cold. Are you guys here to make fun of me? Hokage-sama, I don't know either. The Umbu was more anxious than the third Hokage. The person disappeared in front of him. As for the biggest suspect, he was the most likely. Well, the third Hokage sighed. Konoha had suffered such a great disaster, and it was useless for the Umbu ninja to vent his anger. The most urgent task was to take back the power of Hokage so as to stabilize Konoha. With the righteousness in hand, the third Hokage felt that he should be able to win this battle. After he got the position of Hokage back, the only thing left was to purge the Uchiha. The cancer of Konoha would eventually be put to an end by his own hands. Don't tell anyone about what happened today. that the third generation informed that he must take the Nine-Tails Jinchuriki in his own hands. Kushina is gone, and if the Nine-Tails gets into trouble again, there will be no one left in the village, so the Uzumaki clan will serve as the Jinchuriki. Naruto's name must be changed, not only the Namikaze can't be used, but also the Uzumaki, that way the target is too obvious. The date of birth, the third generation must also be manipulated, and no one can find out. Otherwise, people who know the situation can easily know who is the Nine-Tails Jinchuriki by just reversing the time. Fortunately, Naruto's hair color follows his father, not Kushina's red, otherwise his hair color will have to be changed. There is one more thing, Sarutobi Hiruzen needs his own family to do it, otherwise, this lie will be difficult to cover up. The night of disasters came to an end. The next morning, there were countless orphans in the village, and there were as many as 1,000 newborn babies among them. Uchiha clan land. After holding the Nine-Tails rebellion, Uchiha Fugaku frowned when he saw the Konoha battle report. "What's wrong, big brother?" "Uchiha Manye is here. A group of people from Yomuren haven't come out yet, but it's still early, so there's no need to worry. Look. There are so many more orphans. Sandai is trying to treat everyone as fools." Manye, who figured out Sandai's plan, chuckled. "Many, do you know who Minato's child is?" Fugaku asked. Fugaku complained about himself for not being able to fight Danzo to the end last night. If he had known earlier that there was a third generation among the various clans in Konoha who could do such a thing, he would have wanted to take Minato and his wife away. Chapter 113. You are listening at novelfull.audio. The Uchiha clan had just been rectified, but the third generation and his people started to do evil in various ways. "Probably, my shadow clone has been watching." How could many feel at ease letting the third generation take care of Minato's child? Apart from the stupid will of fire, it was fortunate that Naruto was a stubborn person and not particularly smart, otherwise, it would be strange if the third generation didn't fool him to death in the past 10 years. "Do you want to take it?" Uchiha Fugaku fell silent. He wanted to, but he couldn't. When the Nine-Tails descended last night, the Sharingan Magatama in his eyes, not to mention that the whole village saw it, but now at least the whole village can know it. In the periphery, Uchiha has established a good reputation. There will naturally be an impact, but it will not be as serious as in Konoha. The rampage of the Nine-Tails has caused countless people to lose their families. Konoha is in urgent need of an outlet, and Uchiha is just the right one. Forget it, it's not appropriate for the current Uchiha to make too much noise. Finally, Fugaku shook his head. "By the way, where is the child? Can I go and see him?" After Naruto was born, most of the people who knew about him have died, and the number of people who have seen him is less than 2 digits. Now is not the right time. Danzo and the third Hokage are watching us. Let's talk about it later. Uchiha Manye rejected Fugaku. After the Nine-Tails night, the Uchiha was too sensitive in Konoha. Today, if it were someone else, this matter would be done, but Uchiha Fugaku is not possible. He is the patriarch of the Uchiha clan and has attracted the attention of too many people. As for the shadow clone mentioned by many, who is the third Hokage? How could the shadow clone hide from his vigilance? After a night of rest, Manye's strength was fully restored. He drew out most of the chakra in his body and let Bienyu Ingyin go. It is worthy of Naruto's identity as the destined protagonist to serve as a bodyguard for the tomb. Bienyu, Black Zetsu and Obito have been going in and out of Konoha this morning. If nothing unexpected happens, they should be looking for Naruto. Manye also let Bienyu Ingyin go, and after hacking them to death several times, so he gave up. All those who came were clones, and Black Zetsu was immortal. It was estimated that Black Zetsu himself could not figure out who was the main body of the clone. After trying several times, Uchiha Manye even found that the speed at which he chopped their clones could not keep up with the consumption of driving the edge prison reflection, so he gave up. This kind of sticky candy was the most difficult to deal with. Konoha was not at peace today. The third generation brought a group of orphans to Konoha, which was undoubtedly declaring the sovereignty of the Jinchuriki to the various clans in the village. The big clans could not do anything to Sarutobi Hiruzen, but his mortal enemy, Shimura Danzo, was different. Danzo was born dissatisfied with Hashirama's idea of loving the world, and he actually gave away the power he got. The same goes for the Jinchuriki. Tools should just be workers. What kind of feelings do people need? Didn't Uzumaki Kushina sacrifice her life because of feelings? The Root Ninja is investigating the origin of the orphans, but Danzo knows too few clues. Except for knowing Naruto's date of birth, he knows nothing else. He doesn't know whether it is a boy or a girl, and it's a headache to figure out the hair color. Konoha has been building an orphanage since early in the morning. When the Earth-style ninjas went to that station, a magnificent building rose from the ground. The subsequent construction workers were all repairing the foundation of the house built by the Earth-style ninjas. It was not long after 7 o'clock. Uchiha Manye and Fugaku received a notice, go to the Hokage building for a meeting. Not only them, but also the Hyuga clan. This thing actually existed a long time ago. It should have come, but the third Hokage was busy throwing smoke bombs to control Naruto, and he was free only this morning. Hokage building. Konoha is quite depressed today, and the buildings in the major blocks are broken or destroyed. The disaster caused by the Nine Tails will be borne by the innocent people of Konoha in the end. There is a shortage of people everywhere, and the cost of asking ninjas to help is too high. After Minato took over as Hokage, the wealth created for the villagers in the inner circle of Konoha in a year, as well as the vacant manpower positions, were all taken back by all the clans of Konoha overnight. In the meantime, a lot of ownerless wealth was plundered. To read exciting novels, go to Falun Novel Network. Sarutobi, Hiruzen, who was injured, sat back in the main seat of the Hokage building after many days. Are you all here? Sandai coughed twice to ask the people below to be quiet. He had something to say. Sir, what are you going to do with the mess left by the Nine Tails? Said a large clan member with a frown. The news that the Nine Tails Jinchuriki had fallen into the hands of the Third Tails had spread to their ears along with Minato's death. The Third Tails eating alone was too disgusting. The fourth Hokage sacrificed his life to save Konoha. What did the third Hokage plan to do at his funeral? What about the fifth Hokage? The fourth Hokage is gone, but the position of Hokage can't be left vacant, right? Not long after the fourth Hokage left, the people on the stage began to think about the fifth Hokage, asking for flowers. The world is so fickle, it's really not worth it for Minato to leave. And there's that sentence, Minato sacrificed his life to save Konoha, which makes people want to laugh, but many knows himself well. Last night, he didn't do anything good, so he wouldn't go to the extent of competing with these people for face. It sounds good to say that he sacrificed his life, but Minato's death was really unfair. If the various tribes of Konoha had behaved a little, he wouldn't be so desperate. Kushina is partly responsible, okay, most of the reason. But if not, if the various tribes of Konoha were pushing him from behind, he might not have lost the belief to live, and Naruto didn't die. As a father, he wouldn't just give up. There is no suitable candidate for the fifth generation yet. Konoha suffered such a great disaster, and the village could not help but hold the second Hokage election in such a short time. Sarutobi Hiruzen said calmly, how could the people in the audience not know what he was thinking? When the fourth generation came to power, the third generation never gave up power completely. He said that he was helping Minato to check, but who didn't know what he was thinking? Only Minato had no foundation, so why not try someone else? What does the third generation master mean? That someone cooperated with the third generation to perform, and it seems that he received a lot of money behind the scenes. Konoha needs someone who holds power to replace Minato and help the villagers get out of their current predicament. The loss of control of the Nine Tails seal brought too much pain to the village. What Konoha needs now is stability. After the third Hokage said this, he stopped acting completely. He almost said it directly, the position of Hokage is his for sure. Sarutobi Hiruzen, let's put the issue of the Hokage aside for now. At this time, Danzo suddenly came to the meeting as an uninvited guest. The moment he saw him, many couldn't help but turn the Magatama in his eyes. This old man finally came out, but just when Many was about to take action, the Samsara Eye told him that the person who came was just a clone. Boring. Nine Tails Jinchuriki, shouldn't you tell us where you are hiding? Danzo came here today, not intending to target the position of Hokage. He knew that the third Hokage would never let go, so he had to settle for the second best and set his sights on the Nine-Tails Jinchuriki. Now that you are the Hokage, you should at least give up the Nine-Tails, right? Chapter 114. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Danzo questioned, attracting the attention of everyone present. Watching Sarutobi Hiruzen's show was something that all the clans had been looking forward to for a long time. The Nine-Tails Jinchuriki, the clans had no intention of getting involved, not because they didn't want to, but because they knew they didn't have the strength and qualifications. Sarutobi Hiruzen would not allow it, and Danzo would not watch Naruto fall into their hands. If Konoha had another powerful family, the village would be in turmoil. Back then, in order to suppress the Uchiha and Hyuga clans, Sarutobi Hiruzen and Danzo gave up a lot of their own interests, otherwise, Konoha would not have so many powerful clans today. The child was entrusted to me by Minato himself. How can I refuse the request of a dying man? What are you guys planning? Do you really think I don't know? It's amazing. The villains are the first to complain. And Minato entrusted it to them personally. What happened to Sarutobi Hiruzen last night? They are not blind. After being hit by the 9477 tails continuously, Sarutobi Hiruzen was lucky not to die. How could he have the energy to see Minato? Sarutobi Hiruzen, you are planning to take me for a fool, right? Danzo was not in a good mood. Sarutobi Hiruzen had eaten the previous one, and he was planning to eat the next one. These people in the conference hall are almost all fence-sitters. Even though they are looking for trouble with Sarutobi Hiruzen now, once Danzo is at a disadvantage, these people will definitely change their faces faster than turning pages of a book. In fact, at this time, if Uchiha Fugaku came forward, he could further force Sarutobi Hiruzen into a desperate situation. However, Fugaku couldn't do this. After last night, the Uchiha clan was too sensitive in Konoha. Every move affected many people's hearts. The people of Konoha could not believe that the person who controlled the Nine-Tails was not the Uchiha clan of Konoha. But the Sharingan Magatama in the eyes of the Nine-Tails was really disgusting. The trauma that Madara brought to Konoha back then was too great, so great that today, no one wants to recall that day, so great that no one wants to see a second Madara appear in Uchiha. The Jinchuriki is a matter of great importance. If I tell you casually and something happens, how can I explain to Minato? If the Nine-Tails is released again, what will Konoha do? Sarutobi Hiruzen, don't be so careless and put pressure on me. Sarutobi Hiruzen said passionately, but unfortunately Danzo didn't buy his tricks. When the enemy ignores the Konoha barrier and enters and leaves the village at will, your so-called confidentiality regulations are no longer useful. When the fourth Hokage and you were both there, they were able to kidnap the previous Nine-Tails Jinchuriki. You are hiding it now. Don't tell me, Minato just handed the child to you, and then he was lost, right? Last night, the front battlefield was not involved at all, but they were outnumbered. All the information channels have a hand, just integrate them, and it is not difficult to infer what Minato did. Village. Konoha barrier. But when thinking of these 6 words, Sarutobi Hiruzen suddenly had an idea. He recalled that the Konoha guards notified him that there was something wrong with the ceiling class barrier. He vaguely remembered that it was before Minato's accident. Guards. Uchiha. Immediately, Sarutobi Hiruzen's eyes lit up, and the opportunity to pass the buck came. Danzo's step-by-step pressure made Sarutobi Hiruzen unable to resist for a while, so he had to seize the time and change the subject. He didn't have the confidence to completely turn against the various clans of Konoha and Danzo. Let's talk about Danzo later. I need to take care of a business first. Sarutobi Hiruzen didn't care about anything and finished his words first. Danzo slapped his hand on the table and said, "What I said is not a business." Sarutobi Hiruzen was not willing to be outdone and retorted, "This is about Uchiha, you should think it over." Seeing the fire burning on them, Fugaku and many looked at each other. Throughout the meeting, Fugaku basically didn't say a word except when necessary. Even though he was so cautious, he still let Sarutobi Hiruzen drag him out as a shield to evade Danzo, and that was it. To read the exciting novel, go to Falun Novel Network. Lord Sarutobi Hiruzen, what do you mean by this? Uchiha Fugaku didn't have a good tone. The 2 people who appeared last night and could control the Nine-Tails were enough to give him a headache. the most important thing is not the number of people, but these two people, who have double Sharingan. Uchiha can't wash it off even if he jumps into the Yellow River. Please calm down, Chief Fugaku. I am not talking about what happened last night. Sarutobi Hiruzen is not stupid enough to offend the Uchiha clan now. The news is not spreading fast enough. He will not take action until the people of Konoha are angry, but the plan cannot keep up with the changes. He did not expect that the various clans would attach so much importance to the Nine-Tails Jinchuriki. The Uchiha clan was also shocked last night. Why didn't anyone cause trouble for the Uchiha clan? Could it be that they are also waiting for others to take the lead? Before Minato's accident, I received a message from the guards that there was a problem with the seal of the Konoha gate. I wonder if it has anything to do with what happened to Minato last night. Sarutobi Hiruzen doesn't have the guts to mess with Uchiha now, but he has never given up the idea of suppressing the prestige of Uchiha in the name of Minato. Didn't the SEAL team check it? Fugaku knew the matter. Many told him once. Yes, after that day, there were no more problems with the barrier. It wasn't a big deal, but today Minato passed away. When I think back on that incident, I feel like there are too many coincidences. Let's be frank. I am the head of the guard team now. Uchiha Manye was too lazy to beat around the bush with Sarutobi Hiruzen. Let's be frank. We are not idle people. Time is limited. Well, Manye, let me ask you, has there been any problems with the village barrier since that day? Sarutobi Hiruzen showed off his fangs. So Lord Sarutobi Hiruzen, you are now suspecting that my Uchiha clan has made some moves behind the scenes, right? Sarutobi Hiruzen insisted on playing tricks, and Manye simply pointed it out directly. Everyone can fight with real swords and guns, why use so many crooked methods? The Hokage is unhappy with the Uchiha, and the Uchiha is not comfortable with the Hokage. After the Rinnegan awakened the Grave Wheel, Manye lost a lot of concerns. The power of the Grave Wheel is his confidence. As long as Manye wants, except for the old coin Danzo, who hides his body and does not show up, the rest who can walk out of this Konoha building alive will be considered his loser. With the reflection of the prison 2.0 on his body, not to say that Uchiha Manye can do whatever he wants, but it is not much different. Since you said it yourself, Manye, I won't waste my words. Is the matter of the barrier related to your Uchiha clan? Sarutobi Hiruzen's vicious appearance is revealed. Nothing to do with it. Manye didn't even blink. What did Hatake Sakumo have to do with his Uchiha clan? Well, the barrier has nothing to do with it. Then Uchiha Manye, can you explain what happened last night? It must be related to your Uchiha clan, right? The dagger is revealed. Sarutobi Hiruzen doesn't care about whether the barrier is set or not. All his preparations are just for this moment. You Uchiha clan must be familiar with the Magatama and the Nine-Tails Eyes, right? Chapter 115. You are listening at novelfull.audio. After a series of questions, Sarutobi Hiruzen finally managed to pry open the hearts of the people who were staring at the Nine-Tails Jinchuriki. Sarutobi Hiruzen, what do you mean by this? Now that things have come to this, there is no need for anyone to pretend. Yes, Sarutobi Hiruzen, what do you mean by this? Danzo suddenly changed his face and said something good to Uchiha Manye. He stood up for him and blocked a wave of bullets. What's going on? The two brothers Uchiha Manye and Fugaku looked at each other in surprise. They all thought that each other had shed a lot of blood to get Danzo's help, but after seeing the doubt in his eldest brother's eyes, Manye quickly realized that he was overthinking. Could it be that the sun rose from the west today? Or did Danzo take the wrong medicine today? Manye never believed that Danzo had the intention of helping Uchiha. This guy's heart is black if you cut it in half. How could he help for no reason? Elder Shimura, did you say something wrong? Not only Manye, but other people present also reminded him when they saw that Danzo had taken the wrong medicine. At this time, many people were wondering if Danzo's shadow clone in the conference room was replaced by Uchiha's people, or what happened to 21. It's a strange story throughout the ages. Danzo, who hates the Uchiha clan and wishes that Uchiha would disappear from the world every day, what exactly does he want to do this time? Danzo, do you know what you are doing? Sarutobi Hiruzen was so angry that he slammed the table and confronted Danzo on the spot. Sarutobi Hiruzen, of course I know. Shimura Danzo was not anxious at all, and replied calmly. Last night, I was staring at the Uchiha clan leader, Fugaku, a jonin of the Uchiha clan. I saw his heroic performance as he devoted himself to rescuing the villagers of Konoha the entire night. Sarutobi Hiruzen, you can doubt the Uchiha clan, but don't forget that the person who attacked Konoha last night might just be an abandoned person of the Uchiha clan. Konoha will never let a traitor go, nor will it slander a hero. Besides, I am talking to you about the Nine Tails, who told you to withdraw the Uchiha clan. Danzo made a righteous speech, which surprised everyone present. Is this really Danzo standing there? When did this guy say such a thing? In Danzo's eyes, the Nine Tails is more important than killing the Uchiha clan. You. Sarutobi Hiruzen was also frightened. Did Danzo have someone else take his place? Is this the line he should say? What's going on? Off stage, Uchiha Fugaku gently pulled Many, trying to get a reasonable explanation from him. To this, Many said that he needed to calm down for a while. Something was wrong. Nine-tail, forget it. Minato entrusted the child to me. Don't even think about bringing him to the root and letting him bear your dirty thoughts. Sarutobi Hiruzen also roared righteously, but in Many's opinion, you two are the same, so don't laugh at each other. After that, the whole meeting turned into a war of words, Sarutobi Hiruzen versus Danzo. It is still unknown who will win. Danzo today is very wrong, and Many needs to leave first. The meeting will not come to a conclusion for a while. Danzo will not let go, and Sarutobi Hiruzen will not let go either. Konoha village, after Uchiha Manye transformed into a phantom clone, he came to the emergency contact point established with Hokage Tsukumo, after the reflection of the border prison. The survivability coefficient of the shadow clone rose sharply. For big and small things, Many no longer needs to go there in person. The task he gave to Hokage Tsukumo was also simple. The only thing is to investigate what happened to the root. Why did Danzo change his attitude so drastically? In the next few days, meetings were held continuously. To read exciting novels, go to Falun Novel Network. All day long, the meetings were filled with the quarrels between Danzo and Sarutobi Hiruzen. It was quite interesting at the beginning, but as time went by, even the most interesting dramas would become aesthetically fatigued. In the end, the two people who quarreled were even shadow clones, and no one knew what the real bodies were doing, at this time, who would still be in the mood to watch their monkey show. The new dungeon of the root, in the dark prison, sat two elderly men who were no longer alive. One was wrapped in white bandages, and the other was holding a pipe, but he only had half a cigarette and didn't light it. Danzo. What do you want to do? Sarutobi Hiruzen, who secretly received Danzo's invitation, sent his shadow clone to go there. Hiruzen, the Uchiha clan cannot fall yet. Danzo got straight to the point. Of course I know that if the Uchiha were to fall so easily, why would I have fought against them my entire life? What benefits did you receive from the Uchiha that you actually spoke up for them in the conference room? Sarutobi Hiruzen looked at Danzo with curiosity. The price that the Uchiha paid to make this guy speak must be quite high, right? This is the secret. Danzo's stiff face twitched twice, which shows how high the price is. Sarutobi Hiruzen asked, who gave it to you? Uchiha Manye? Or Uchiha Fugaku? Sarutobi Hiruzen may not be very clear about the small things that happened in the Uchiha clan, but big things usually cannot be hidden from those who are interested outside. After the fall of the Uchiha clan elders, the only people who spoke up for the Uchiha were the brothers Fugaku and Manye. By the way, Shisui, who took over the legacy of the great elder, can also be counted as half. Wait, isn't it Uchiha Shisui? Sarutobi Hiruzen was a little surprised. Shisui was fooled by him, but when did he get in touch with Danzo? He was always in the in the root. When Danzo and Sarutobi Hiruzen were talking, Hokage Tsukumo came to Uchiha Manye. The place where the two met was not a formal place, but on the roof of a house in the dark and windy night. Uchi 860 wave Shisui. Hokage Tsukumo didn't waste any words and told the truth directly. I knew it was this stupid guy, in the Uchiha clan, who has the family background to make Danzo help, except for the Uchiha Manye brothers, who else can it be but Shisui? The elder has been in charge of the Uchiha clan for many years, and the whole family has made a lot of good things. However, money and other things are all external things. I am afraid that Shisui, the idiot, has even handed over the secret techniques of the Uchiha clan. Recently, there have been rumors in the village about that night. Have you found the source? Let's put aside the matter of Shisui for now. Danzo is not a good person. He can take both the money and the goods when one hand is paid. Uchiha Manye can guarantee that the rumors about the Uchiha in Konoha 4 legends must be behind this old guy. We found 7 families, 4 of whom had seen Sarutobi Hiruzen that night, and 3 of whom had gone to. It seems that they are preparing to attack Uchiha. By the way, have you found out what Shisui sent to Danzo? Many had already prepared to attack Uchiha, but he couldn't figure out what Uchiha Shisui sent to Danzo. In the original work, Obito got a lot of Sharingan on the night of the genocide, and Danzo was not much different from him. Chapter 116. You are listening at novelfull.audio. 3 days later, the third Hokage regained the power of Hokage. Danzo did not cause any trouble, and it was unknown what agreement the two had reached. Naruto was lying well in the orphanage, being cared for by a nanny. During this period, a root ninja passed by chance. Although the time was short, Uchiha Manye still caught the look of Naruto from the bottom of his eyes. Minato made a mistake after all, or did he never trust him from the beginning? Otherwise, he would not have cut the 9 tails in half and sealed it in the child's body. The situation in the village became more and more unfriendly to the Uchiha clan. As rumors spread, the peripheral base was also more or less implicated. The most intuitive thing is that the villagers showed fewer and fewer smiles to the Uchiha clan ninjas, and some were on guard, as if the previous trust no longer existed. Influenced by the villagers, the Uchiha young men in the guard team were full of enthusiasm, but they were poured with a basin of cold water, which was so chilling. The guard team, with fewer and fewer people coming, a large number of Uchiha clan members, in order to escape from Konoha, were full of discrimination against Uchiha and were constantly taking on missions in order to escape from Konoha. Fugaku looked at them and could only sigh without saying anything. Time passed quickly. At the end of the year, the white snow flooded the periphery of Konoha, and the world was covered in silver. The thick snow in this winter day gave everything a snow-white coat. Stepping on the thick snow, Uchiha Manye floated on the snow surface, and his shoes did not embed at all. The super high control of chakra makes Manye closer to God and farther away from people. He has ushered in a period of rapid growth in his own strength, and the chakra energy contained in the cells is increasing every moment. Under Manye's day-to-day training, the reflection of the side prison has been able to condense 2 without affecting the strength of the body. It is the need to feed 2 blue-consuming big users who can never be full every day, which makes Uchiha Manye look very tired. Today, when he returned to the clan, it was the annual clan meeting, and the uncle Itachi's voice came from behind him, and next to him was a guy whom Manye didn't like very much. It's been a while since we last met, Itachi. Uchiha Manye smiled slightly. It was New Year's Day, so he didn't want to make things too awkward. Throughout the year, Manye had been trying to avoid contact with Shisui as much as possible. After greeting Itachi, he looked at Shisui. The same to you. Yeah. They had never talked properly, and Itachi was used to it. After reluctantly saying hello, Manye took the lead and left. He really didn't want to look at Uchiha Shisui anymore. Fortunately, he was a member of Uchiha, otherwise Manye would have sent him to heaven to see the Buddha. Without the ability, you still want to be a saint. Apart from hurting others and yourself, what can you do, Shisui? Brother, good morning. Under the bare cherry tree, Uchiha Fugaku sat in the courtyard, drinking tea. Here they are. Fugaku nodded. After looking around and not seeing the 2 of them, Manye asked, where are my sister-in-law and Sasuke? Mikoto took Sasuke back to her parents' home to let the old man look after the child. Why don't you take them in? There shouldn't be a room for them in the courtyard, right? They are afraid of causing trouble for me, so they have been living in their hometown. Actually, there is nothing wrong with it. The clan is in such a state now. If they come back, it will only make 2 more people upset. Fugaku's expression was bitter. Since Minato left, the situation of the Uchiha clan has become more and more difficult. Some of Minato's old subordinates were liquidated, some defected, and some were gathered by the Uchiha clan and the Hyuga clan. The situation is cold and indifferent. In the world of adults, there is no gratitude, only interests. Manyo, Jiraiya came back a while ago, did you know that? To read the exciting novels, go to Falun Novel Network. When did it happen? Manye was stunned. Itachi's departure emptied his manpower. Hatake Sakumo followed him. He went to Orochimaru's laboratory to find out the progress of his research on Black Zetsu. It was just the time when Jiraiya returned to the village, a perfect diversion. On the third day after you left the village, when Jiraiya came back, he made a scene at the Hokage building. I think he wanted to take Minato's child away from Konoha. Konoha was rotten to the core. Minato, the only one who could save him, was killed by these short-sighted rotten roots. Minato died by performing the Shikigami sealing. What bullshit. Others may not know, but as Minato's teacher, how could Jiraiya not know Minato's strength? After all, this is Konoha. With Minato's strength, it wouldn't be a difficult task for him to delay until the sealing squad arrives. Unfortunately, no one in Konoha moved until he died. How could Jiraiya bear this? The whole village had been hiding Minato's death from him. As a teacher, Jiraiya was the last person to know that Minato was gone. It would be strange if he wasn't mad. Third generation, how could he let him go? Uchiha Manye shook his head. At the beginning, Minato didn't inform Jiraiya, probably because he didn't want Jiraiya to come back. Konoha is really hurt now, too many people are heartbroken. Let's not talk about this. Brother, do you still want to see Naruto? The initial tense period has passed, and the third generation supervision of Naruto during this period is no longer as strict as at the beginning. When will we set off? Fugaku acted decisively without any hesitation. It's enough to do it now. Let the shadow clone go over. As the clan leader, you cannot be absent from the clan meeting today. Do I need you to remind me that there is not much to say about this year's clan meeting? The major events were almost all over in the first half of the year. When everyone thought that the Uchiha clan would prosper in the future, suddenly there was a bolt from the blue. Minato was gone, and the people who harmed him were still from the Uchiha clan. Isn't this a complete failure? How good was the life brought to the villagers of Konoha during Minato's reign? How much Konoha hates the Uchiha clan today. The shadow clone left the clan land, and Manye joined forces with his eldest brother to perform a joint transformation, Naliheo, technique. An advanced use of the transformation technique, which can change the original form of the person or object being transformed. A stone becomes a stone, and a bird becomes a flying bird. A puff of smoke, and two sparrows with their feathers standing on end, landed on a telephone pole, spreading their wings and flying high. Uchiha Manye flew ahead, leading the way. In front of the orphanage, 3 miles away, two sparrows landed on the roof. The distance is a bit far, but for ninjas, there are still many ways to observe the destination. Naruto lives in such a place. Fugaku was furious when he saw the son of the fourth generation lying in a shabby courtyard with simple facilities and a drafty eaves. There were quite a few children in the courtyard, about 30 in number, most of whom were born with disabilities. If it weren't for the third generation selection, this small courtyard with 3 elderly people who rescued abandoned children would probably have been gone this winter. Chapter 117. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Manye had come here several times, and each time he changed his identity and used psychological suggestion, not illusion, to hypnotize nearby residents to donate clothes and food. The third generation kept an eye on this place all the time. Every time the nearby residents moved, what they did every day, the news would land on Sarutobi Hiruzen's desk that night. Brother, I want to bring Naruto to the clan. No matter what, Minato's child shouldn't end up like this. This is not the first time that Uchiha Manye has mentioned this, but Fugaku has been unable to make up his mind again and again. The Uchiha clan is not having a good time now. If Naruto is taken away, the third Hokage and Danzo will go crazy. The Uchiha may not have the strength to protect Naruto. Manye cannot reveal his strength now. he must first kill Madara. If this guy is still alive in this world, there will be too many variables, especially, Many has already exposed the background of the Samsara Eye. Obito and Black Zetsu keep going in and out of Konoha, and they may not have no intention of looking for many. Naruto and the others have not found them yet, but Konoha has only those newborns, and they don't want the various clans in Konoha to have concerns about their actions. It will only be a matter of time to find Naruto. Many Uchiha can no longer bear it, but I can't just watch him like this. How about we spread the word? You can find Naruto, the one who was spying on the Nine Tails. I don't think it will take long to find him. With the other party's ability to enter and leave Konoha at will, relying solely on the third generation Danzo, I'm afraid something bad will happen sooner or later. With Naruto out in the open, how bad can the situation get? There are too many people who want his life, and the eyes of all Konoha are watching him. If all the masters of Konoha can't protect the Nine-Tails Jinchuriki, what ability do the third Hokage and Danzo have to save Naruto? What do you think, Many? Uchiha Fugaku's words after careful consideration made many fall into deep thought. Logically speaking, the matter was very successful. However, his elder brother obviously forgot one thing, that is, Danzo and the third generation. It would not be so easy to hand over Naruto to others. Jiraiya couldn't get Naruto to leave, and Fugaku's idea, to be honest, was a bit naive. But I don't know what the third generation said, but Jiraiya left without even seeing Naruto. Brother, your idea is good, but I feel that things will not go as you expected. Both the third Hokage, CBCJ, and Danzo are not easy to deal with. Can it be worse than it is now? Many couldn't refute this. He always wanted to find a foolproof plan, but there are not so many perfect things in this world. Leaving Naruto in the orphanage for a short period of time will ensure his safety, but Uchiha Manye can't figure out Madara's thoughts. What if he suddenly has a brainwave and comes to rob the Nine Tails in person? The only person in the whole Konoha who can fight him is Many. With Madara, Many must go all out. Facing this monster who has lived for who knows how many years, hiding one's abilities is no different from seeking death. Without Many watching Naruto, Black Zetsu and Obito would have their chance. Putting Naruto in the open is not a very advanced method, but it is still effective. Obito fooled Nagato all day long, saying that he was Uchiha Madara. In order to maintain his appearance, it was basically impossible for him to attack Naruto before he could firmly defeat Konoha. Obito is not weak, but all his losses are pinned on Kamui. At this stage, apart from Kamui, he is actually nothing. With this strength, he can beat Konoha with his head. It is a question whether he can pass the Uchiha clan. If he runs into Shisui, even a god can teach him a lesson. Maybe he can turn into a traitor on the spot and sell out Madara. By then, Black Zetsu and Madara will have nowhere to cry. Choose the lesser of two evils. Alright, big brother, it's up to you. You're right, how can it get worse than it is now? To read exciting novels, go to Falun Novel Network. Uchiha Manye put aside his worries and began to think about the response of the three generations. The two shadow clones dissipated. There is nothing much to say about this year's clan meeting, and not many people came. After the night of the Nine Tails, more and more Uchiha clan members jumped out to seek death. Fortunately, Madara has a high standard and does not want anyone who is not a genius. Otherwise, according to his method of manipulating Obito, the Uchiha clan members who went out here today would be at least half crazy. The next day, a piece of gossip in Konoha spread like crazy throughout Konoha. From the 80-year-old man to the children, an address was passed on in their mouths. It was not somewhere else but where Naruto was. Hey, brother, have you heard? The descendant of the fourth generation is actually living in a doghouse. What doghouse? But I heard it was a pigsty. Pigsty? Which crazy guy did this? Does he know what he has done? The news spread more and more outrageous. From the beginning to the end, even Uchiha Manye, the source of the rumor, could not figure it out. The address alone was not enough. A portrait of Naruto was also needed. Naruto was affected by the Nine Tails, and the 6 fox spots on his body were so recognizable that there was almost no possibility of mistaking him as long as the photo was posted. The portraits, rumors, and many were all released, and the rest depended on what these villagers could do for the fourth generation. However, Uchiha Manye did not have any expectations for them. The power of ordinary people was too insignificant for ninjas. Most people, apart from knowing that a ninja was very strong, basically had nothing else. Tailed beasts, Jinchuriki, six-path sage, etc., in his opinion, were no less than a myth and legend. The Hokage building was once again occupied by someone. Not only the villagers of Konoha came, but also a group of representatives of the ninja clan. It would have been fine if they didn't know before, but now Naruto knew. If they don't take advantage of Yubai's gift to them, they are really worthless. What's going on? Who leaked the news about Naruto? Inside the building, the third generation threw a table of documents in a rage, and the papers flew all over the room, like a heavy snow with a little black goose feathers. Soon, Danzo came to the door, just in time to see the scene of the third generation scolding the Umbu ninja. Sarutobi Hiruzen. Isn't it time for you to give me an explanation again? Danzo said in a bad tone. He was particularly unlucky today. He encountered all kinds of bad things, but he couldn't accomplish anything. The third generation was still depressed at the moment, so how could he have the mood to explain to Danzo, regarding Naruto's fake identity? Sarutobi Hiruzen thought he had done his best. First, a group of orphans outside the village were given to Naruto as a cover. The third generation also looked for people with birthmarks and beards on their faces. In order to weaken Naruto's presence, a lot of orphanages of all sizes were built, both good and bad, but even so, they could not block the prying eyes of outsiders.